What's up, graphic designers? Photoshop is all around us, except maybe at one of my favorite breakfast spots here in Richmond Hill, Queens, the Classic Diner. But what we're going to do today is we're going to use the clone stamp tool to eliminate the signage along with the clock, and we're going to reimagine this facade. Can't wait to see what you guys produce. So today we're going to use the clone stamp tool to eliminate this text, the Classic Diner text, along with this clock. And you're going to reimagine this restaurant. You're going to name it something that you think would be fun and compelling. And not only are we using the clone stamp tool to get rid of this text, but we're going to use it to maybe get rid of these cows and dolphins. And you're going to be experimenting. And we'll touch on these images in just a moment. But how exactly does the clone stamp tool work? So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in just a tad. And then I'm going to go to the toolbar, and I can see right underneath the brush tool, we've got the clone stamp tool, and the S is the hotkey. And here I see an example of the clone stamp tool in action, where it's painting with pixels from one part of the image to another. So that's exactly what we want to do. And in fact, we want to analyze the image, and we're going to think about like where it would make sense to paint over the unwanted elements. So you guys, we're going to hold Option or the Alt key, and we're going to define an origin point. And so if I click the eye in Classic, if I left click once and then release Option, and then I click again, you'll notice that crosshair and the eye and like the dot of that eye, right? But that's how it works. It's copying from the area that we define, but we don't want to add, text. We want to eliminate this text. So I'm going to define the point again. I'm going to actually grab like these stones right there, this wall of bricks, and I'm clicking and I'm dragging, and it's copying straight from that like crosshair rather. All right, and so let's see, the hardness is at 74%, which makes sense. We could even increase the diameter of the brush. I'm going to zoom out a tad, and let's give this a shot. So I'm going to hold Option, left click, and I'm just going to go. I'm not going to do an amazing job, and you'll notice that I'm actually redefining the points, and you may have to do that multiple times. I'm going to drop the hardness down to 40, and would you look at that, just eliminated this. And you know what, they've got these lights on the outside and the security camera. While we're at it, why not, we can get rid of this as well. So I'm going to hold Option, click, gone. Beautiful, that's amazing. We'll get rid of this, that's gone. And so again, there's got to be like a sort of pattern or an area that we can draw from where it makes sense, right? Where it looks realistic. And now, speaking of patterns, we want to do it in such a way where it's not obvious that we're using the magic of Photoshop. And so I can see that this brick repeats itself here, 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 and here. This is when I was sort of like going along in a row over and over. So you're going to want to sort of break this up. Think about like how to eliminate these obvious patterns. And then once you eliminate this text, what you're going to do is you're going to create a new layer. You're going to come up with the name of your very own restaurant. And I haven't given this much thought. In fact, I just came up with this idea 40 seconds ago, and I'm going to revisit it because, to be honest with you, I don't love it. But let's say the name of our restaurant, I was thinking Dro's Delicatessen, but I'm just going to call it Yummy Yums because it's not that serious. I noticed that before they had that cool gradient overlay. I'm going to reduce this the text. It's called the leading between these two lines of text. And if we hold Option again and we just press the down arrow, there we go. That's another way to do it. We don't even need to open up the characters panel, but that looks great. And now I'm going to add that gradient overlay. And so I'm going to make sure I'm in the right layer. I'm going to click Effects. I'm going to select Gradient Overlay. And we don't want that one, but maybe we want something, maybe something that looks a little bit like this or like this. I'm not loving that. You guys are going to experiment with something that's fun and silly. I can't wait to see the name of your restaurant. Now, when we're applying the clone stamp tool, you want to think critically about like where you're drawing from. So I'm going to press S again. And because I haven't redefined that origin point, it's still pulling from the Classic Diner. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to redefine a point. And you may, again, have to do this over and over a whole bunch of times. And so I know that this grass right here in the foreground, it makes sense, right? If we're going to eliminate these pretty cute looking cows. But what we would not want to do, I'm actually going to increase the hardness. We would not want the hardness at 100%. And then let's drop the text right, the size right here. I'm going to grab this this grass in the foreground, and I'm going to copy it over sort of at the top of the image, and you can see that clearly like this doesn't blend in well. So obviously what we're going to want to do is redefine this point so it matches up with the appropriate background. I'm going to drop down the hardness, and you're going to experiment with that. And so if we come over here, again, now we don't have the classic diner, we've got that grass, and so we could put these dolphins, rather than breaching the surface of the water, but like prancing around in a field, or we can simply eliminate them altogether. I'm going to hold Option, and I'm going to increase the size of this brush. I'm going to drop down hardness right there. Okay. And so we've got something that looks a little bit like this. That's pretty cool. I'm going to redefine it. Whoa. And I don't love that, so I'm going to come back here. And so you're going to want to finesse it. I mean, it takes a little bit of practice. I'm super excited to see what you guys produce. What is the name of your restaurant? And who is your target audience? I can't wait to see your work. Good luck.